All right, so we'll see if our name gets us pulled from YouTube again, but we are running some Hateful Place, or The Hateful Place as it would be tonight, which is I have all three books. It's a indie RPG, I guess we'll call it, by Dave Mitchell. I'm going to mute myself. There we go. Good, did it fast enough. And essentially, the premise of this game, it could be run in any time period, is that something's happened and made the world kind of a screwed up place. Most of the time, about 23 hours a day, there is darkness. In this world, the darkness comes as a rain. You're not sure exactly when it started. I mean, you all know that you're much older than you were when it started, but and there's still people around that remember before the rains. But since there's no way really to track the time very well, and there was a period of extreme rioting and fighting and murder, that eventually the church took rule. The government collapsed. You're in you believe it's around 1828 in the Nevada territory. You've gathered in this small town, a handful of people just trying to survive. Every day, you get about an hour or so of beautiful, crisp daylight that you can go out and bask in. And then slowly the rain starts to fall. It drizzles, starts to come down a little bit in spurts. And then by halfway through the night, it's massive downpours, flooding. Plenty of towns you had stayed in got wiped out by flash floods. You guys learned to build up on the hills, stay away from it. Then this rain begins to get less and less until it's just a sprinkle, and then the sun breaks. This isn't just like any normal rain. It smells. It smells of alcohol. It burns the skin when it touches you. And as some unfortunate homesteaders have found out, can be set ablaze. Several homesteads have exploded from leaky roofs dripping into their fireplaces. But industrious people have learned to harness the fire rain, as they call it, to use for fuel source as trees are growing less and less, and everything is really growing less and less. Even though it rains every day and massively, it's still very dry here because the alcohol nature of the rain causes it to evaporate very quickly. So by the time the sun's been out for half an hour, it's dry again and dusty. But you know the rain's going to come again soon. So we will intro the characters here, and then we'll set you guys up for what exactly is happening in your nice little town. I'll do this, and I'll have you guys tell us a little bit about your character, maybe how you got to this town, or whatever you want to share. And I will start with Nikki.
Okay, you see a tall, dark-skinned, because of a tan, which she got before all this happened, and there's only 1 hour of sunlight. Sort of spends a lot of time outdoors, kind of leathery-skinned, older woman with two cult peacemakers slung on one on each hip. Before all this happened, she would spend time performing trick shots and horse rodeo type tricks. And now she's devoted to trying to keep this town that has managed to be a small little bastion of safety from being overrun by marauders and other unsavory types. She's always kind of chomping on something. If you can find it, a cigar. If not, anything, toothpick. She's always got something that she's kind of chewing on there. And she wears her 10-gallon hat with pride. And this is Dolores Dischain.
Excellent, Dolores. Okay, Tony, tell us about your character.
A large man sitting there, very large, round, obese man sitting there wearing these very heavy, almost gaudy looking jacket and these priest robes up underneath. Has a book open as he's also has one hand leaning on the cane that he uses to walk with, but he opens the book and he goes, Lord, forgive these sinners. I do my best to bring your word to them, to bring them away from the darkness that envelops. And forgive me for saying this, O Lord, but I do not see how we can bring salvation to them if you continue to rain down the rain that infuses with alcohol. It will drive the sinners even closer to the bottles, to the saloons, to the taverns, to the wayfaring places that only sin is found at. And you know, Lord, as I do, the wicked will find their soul frozen in the dark that they serve. Help me bring a better day to them, a better way. I'm getting older and I'm getting less healthy as I used to be. Help me bring salvation once more. I'm going to be playing Samson Smith, better known as Salvation, the believer.
Excellent. All right, Samson. We'll see. It's definitely been more than 40 days and 40 nights, and the rains are still coming. And Crystal.
Witches. It's always the goddamn witches. They come in to our place, creep up upon us, and take hold of the good God-fearing citizen, of which there are so few. Clearly, the rains have come because we turned our back on the Lord. And I have no doubt in my mind that one day his glory shall shine upon us again, and these rains will all be done away with. But until that day comes, I'll stand here as an arbiter of the Lord, a witch hunter, slaying them wherever I can, until the Lord comes back and revives this world. For my name is not Barney Joseph Remick.
Excellent. Very nice. Okay, so as I said, you guys have been here for who knows how long now. The rain is you can already hear, people don't use watches anymore, really. They just listen to the sound of the rain, knowing that when it's hammering down, that's the depth of night. That's when you should be sleeping, because nothing could walk in that rain and survive. At least nothing holy. But as the rain begins to let up, that becomes dawn, and people know, they start to get ready so they can be able to get outside. Some try to collect a little bit of the rain to use as fuel or possibly to make drink. Some just get everything, get themselves ready for the daylight to come. And you guys are there, maybe planning, or maybe you guys are, the defenders of the city for the most part, of the town, I should say. So maybe somehow you're together in one of the large rooms. You guys have occupied, the townsfolk occupy as few buildings as possible. That keeps it easier to keep them heated and cooled, I guess. When you actually, one of the children says, there's someone outside. It could be a ghost. And they're pointing out, they got the shutters open a bit and they're kind of pointing out into the street area.
As Joseph comes to, hearing these stories of something outside, he instinctually reaches up and grabs the child and pulls him back and says, no, you stay away. And he slowly reaches out, grabbing one of the pistols from his holster and bringing it out, ready to, kind of peeking now himself around the shutters. Not trying to do anything, just trying to look out a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So you look out there and you can actually see there's something coming down the street. It looks like at first like almost like a rock that's moving. It's like this like weirdly shaped form. And as you're kind of squinting at it and getting a better look at it, you see that it's a man, but he's got like a heavy cloth just piled on top of him, clearly to keep the rain off of his skin. and he's kind of like walking, almost using like a rain jacket, but it's probably quite heavy, now soaked in to him, and you can see he's stumbling forward. You can't really make him out very much. You can just see the legs, and you can see that it's definitely a person, and they're kind of like stumbling down the street towards the building, the main building, which is where you guys are.
What are you thinking, Barney?
Barney's gonna turn around and he's gonna say, basically I think we should get the little ones into safety first. Like everyone who can't fight, get to your safety room. Basically, I'm guessing they probably have some kind of safe thing. They know what to do. Like everyone gets down or whatever.
Okay, sure. Yeah, obviously that makes sense.
Sure, we could put them in the provision cellar.
Yeah, you guys maybe have dug a cellar, or maybe this was originally like an inn or something where there's, a cellar underneath, and you just like a dirt cellar basically to keep things cool. So yeah, you guys can send people down in there. It's reasonably dry. Actually, let's make it a chance that it flooded. Roll a d6, Dolores, and
Okay.
you'll get a 1.
I will try. 4.
Okay, yeah. So it stayed dry. Sometimes this thing floods out, which is actually it's risky, but then at the same time you need to use it because it keeps the stuff cool. So you risk putting stuff down there, and of course in this situation, people down there. But the rains have already gone past they're not going to be bad for another probably 12 hours, and it's not wet down there now. So yeah, you shuffle the children. There's a total of 8 other people in here with you.
Okay.
We'll say 4 of them are children, and then a couple of older people, and then a couple of kind of in their 20s and 30s that they can actually fight as well. And they shuffle down the other people, and they stay up there with you, grabbing whatever weapon they might have, and looking for direction.
Salvation pushes down his heavy frame down on that cane as he grunts and gets up. Well, now remember, Mr. Remington and Miss Dolores, strangers are not always the bad kind. We should at least offer and break bread for them if they are the kind, benevolent ones that we need to show the salvation to.
Well then, how about you open up that door and I'll have my own form of justice right here to protect you in case your way doesn't pan out.
Yeah, I think I'll just cover you instead of action. If you want to do that, Salvation.
You see
And I pull out my gun.
You see him take his cane and start walking to the door, and in the other hand, he is grasping and clenching very tightly a crucifix. Well, just be prepared in case it isn't the kind strangers that we welcome. And he'll start to open the door.
I don't aim my gun at the door.
Barney's gonna grab his. He's just gonna kind of like put his pistol down on the bed or whatever real quick. And he's actually gonna grab his shotgun instead, and he's gonna like basically walk behind Salvation and keep the shotgun hidden behind Salvation, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
So basically, it's like I'm walking like, kind of beside him, but just behind him. Yeah.
Right, and letting his frame block your I guess left hand or right hand or whatever, and does the shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. A good idea. So yeah, so you move forward, and when you open the door, you can see that this that the rain is kind of still sprinkling, so it's still raining a bit, but it's enough that you could probably walk out in it for a bit, but you certainly wouldn't want to stand out there with a bare head or without a shirt on or something, because it would burn you. And you can see him kind of come and carrying this like heavy load of what is basically blankets, and then he's got like a cloth painted up on top of it to keep the water out, and an oilskin cloth. That's the word. So he's got that. And he's kind of moving, and when you open the door, he stops and he looks, and he immediately sees that you got this crucifix in your hand, and his eyes get bright, and he actually drops the big heavy load of blankets and stuff that he's got, and he like runs towards you, and he says, "Oh, thank God! Oh, thank God!" And you can see that he's kind of a scrawny, Looks like he probably doesn't get much chance to eat much. Like he's very, very thin, old man. He's probably like in his 60s, you would guess. It's hard to say, because he looks pretty. He looks older than that, but you imagine probably in his 60s because he's moving. He probably just looks worse because he's been beaten so much and not been able to eat. Beaten by the times and stuff, not like beaten like he's bruised. And he comes running, and he actually gets like to the like kind of the cover of the. There's like a porch on the outside of the building, and there's like a little cover. So he gets that far, so he's not in the rain anymore, and he falls down on his knees, and then he like puts his hands together and he starts praying.
Please come on in, and we will break bread and give you drink. You look like you've been traveling for some time.
He opens his eyes and he looks around and he says, "I have my village, our small town was wiped out by the devil." And he kind of like he gets up, staggering on his feet, and walks in, if you allow him to, into the
I would
building.
move over enough to tell if
Yeah.
Remington does also.
Like Remington's again gonna move back, and just kind of keep the shotgun hidden again behind Salvation. So he's just moving in such a way that he's kind of moving with Salvation.
Okay, so
I still have my gun sort of trained on him. I'm not gonna take him out of my sights just yet.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to notice you at all at first, because he essentially comes in and the first thing he sees, the first like table, let's say, that's sitting there, because it's like the main area, he just like immediately like collapses at the table, sits in a chair, and he's like leaning forward, really weak, and he's rubbing his head, and he says, "You still have time, though. You still have time."
What form did the devil take?
It's a herd of cattle being run by riders with fiery hooves and lassos made of hell fire.
How many riders?
Barney. Sorry, go ahead.
How many riders?
I think maybe half a dozen. Not many. Well, but the cattle, at least 100. They ran through our city, our town, our village, and demolished the buildings. They ran through everything. The riders laughed and pushed them forward with whips. The only building they couldn't penetrate was the church, and we hid there, and then they burned it to the ground. And he kind of like lifts up, and you see now he brings his hands up as he's telling the story. You can see his hands are all burnt, and he says, "I was able to dig my way out from the smoldering lumber and run. They can't travel when it rains, apparently. So they're still behind me."
You think they'll be here in a day's time?
He kind of like thinks, and he's just, "I've been traveling. Yeah, I would say not today, possibly tomorrow or the next day."
How did you
Barnaby.
happen to escape this?
When the rain started, they went for cover into the mines. There was an old mine near the town. It was a silver mine. And even though the church burned, we hid in a dugout basement. And when the rain started, I dug my way out through the fire.
Dug your way out through the fire. I pull Barney aside a little bit and say, Do we trust this guy's story? Dug his way out through fire? He seems pretty scrawny. How do you have the strength?
Barney will nod, and he kind of gives Dolores a nod, like, like I still got my eye on him, and he'll actually say, like, uh, Dolores, how about you get this man some food? He's obviously been through a rough time.
All right, I'll make him up some, just whatever rations and water we have.
I can only believe that the Lord spared me this long so that I could help others. We knew there was a village in this direction because sometimes we would see the smoke from your chimneys. Though knowing it would take many days to travel, we never took the time to visit. That's the problem, I think, in this new world. People are so separated. We can't fight the evil if we doubt each other constantly.
Suppose that is a point. I give him some food and water, but I'm still not gonna put my gun away. I don't have it pointed at him, but it's in my hand.
Okay.
How did you manage to get the blankets and everything together in order to, make the trip the way you did?
They were in the church, in the storage room where I was. That's how I kept from burning, too. I dug myself underneath it. The old, like me, and some of the children were down there. Unfortunately, the smoke took them. Then he starts to weep.
Salvation. Oh, go ahead, Crystal.
The only building that these witches couldn't get to was the church, as in due to the fact that it's hollowed ground, correct?
I mean, I'm a believer. And I think that the Lord saved us. The evil, the steer couldn't penetrate and crash through and knock down the building. But the cowboys, the riders, they were still able to burn it down. So I can't say that it saved anyone but me. And I'm worthless. But perhaps the Lord wanted me to save you. And that's why I'm here.
So was your church more protected than the other buildings? Is there some kind of protection they couldn't get through specifically? That's what I want to know.
Well, of course, there's protection. Remington, the Lord above protects us.
Of course.
Yes,
Of course,
amen.
there's practical application as well. Shouldn't tempt the Lord.
Yes, I think if the Lord gave me anything, he gave me my guns for protection. I think I'll trust in my guns.
Salvation eases his large frame down in a chair. You can tell he's, a little tired from standing. And, well, if the devil was sending the hell riders and has put the beast into these cattle, there's something that the Lord has blessed me with that I think I can take out the majority of them when we see them coming on the horizon. But I will need to be well rested, and I will need to be prepared and set out at the furthest building when I see them on the horizon. There is something I can do, and I can bring down. Well, let's put it this way. There won't be any hot temperatures left when I finish with them.
I believe in the power of the Lord, Brother Salvation. I think it would also be prudent to also prepare a defense just in case some of them do manage to get past your divine justice.
Well, of course, good Remington. I mean, it's very taxing. It may take a toll on my body and my soul also, but I'm prepared and willing to do what I must to. If I have to sacrifice myself, I will help bring the salvation that Dolores can finish it.
You're a good man, Samson, Barney says, and kind of like pats his shoulder and says, you get all the rest you need to prepare. Dolores and I, we can handle, getting the preparations in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've
and, I'll
never
go
known
ahead.
God to not like backup.
Yeah, and basically, Daniel, what I want to do is I'm going to set up at like the building on the edge of town and stay in that building, and as soon as I see this group of riders and cattle coming at a distance, I'm going to cast a spell before
Bring
they get
down
to
the
us.
legends. Nice. So he would tell you. I mean, this guy seems to be losing energy, but he tells you that it seemed like the cattle just run wild without the riders to direct them. If you could kill the riders, I think that the cattle would just disperse. But you'll need to do it before they get to the town. Or you might have the same fate that we had.
What do you think, Barney?
Actually, he's starting to like wobble in the chair like he's gonna like pass out. And then he kind of just like puts his head down. And you can see he's not dead or anything, but he's like completely exhausted and kind of passes out.
When Dolores, get them a bowl of that stew we had left over.
I mean,
Yeah.
I did feed him, so. I
Yeah,
think.
he ate. And once he had the food in him, he was like, that was like the last of his energy. I think he's gonna need for a little bit probably, because I mean he's just he's just been traveling for the last few days under this like intense rain, and I mean he's quite old, and you would imagine. I mean, think about if you took about 12 blankets and put them over you, and then soaked them and carried them. It's a lot of weight. So,
How much is it raining like at this moment?
it's barely a drizzle now. It's probably going to stop raining in the next like half an hour or so.
Okay, so if Barney were to put on like a thick jacket and a hat and all that, he'd probably be okay outside.
Yeah.
All right, so then Barney is gonna say to Dolores and Salvation, like, basically, I don't think we have anything to fear from this man. Seems he really is exhausted and only a ghost of whatever he was. I believe his story. I'm gonna head out and try and find us a location that has a good view out in the distance, but can also be fortified handily enough. Preferably some kind of hollow ground.
Is there any way to get on any of the roofs of the buildings?
Oh yeah, I mean you guys have been staying here, so whatever you might have, like if you just want to make something up, you've set up some kind of you've had to defend. So if there's something you've built onto the roofs or whatever, that's fine. You can just have that.
Yep, that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you can do that. So you're going to head out. We'll say roll any die, and then even you're going in the direction that the graveyard is, which would be hollow ground. Odd is the opposite direction. Then there'll be no hollow ground.
All right. Even.
Okay. Yeah.
I have odd.
Well, I think only.
Only hey.
I mean, you all go in the same direction. It doesn't really matter. So you rolled an even. Okay. Yeah. So you're going in the direction they're coming from. Apparently, is the direction of the graveyard. So that's been blessed. So you can if you want to hang on the graveyard, that'd be a place to. This it's a Western graveyard, so it's not like there's mausoleums or whatever. There's basically a bunch of sticks in the ground that have like people's names written on them.
But is there any kind of building within the graveyard or near it that would like you'd be able to like what Tony wants see out?
No. In like an old school Western graveyard, it's literally just a patch of ground that has like a wooden fence around it that a priest had blessed. So it's like literally.
Is there a building close to it though? Like one of them could climb the roof, and I could stand there by the graveyard, and maybe they could holler at me when they'd have a better eye view of seeing them coming.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think you probably the graveyard's close enough to the town that yeah, you can probably yell from the town, and yeah, why not? We'll say it's like maybe like a couple hundred yards away. I mean, they put it far enough away they wouldn't want you don't want bodies that close to town where the wells are and stuff. But it's it's close enough that you could easily walk to it. So and it's not like
Take a
it's noisy.
position on the roof.
Yeah, you could come up onto the roof, and then you're saying you want to hang out in the graveyard, Salvation.
No,
Yeah, Salvation will go to the graveyard in case they come. We see him coming today. He wants to distance himself a little bit from Remington and Dolores, so they don't get caught in what he's going to do.
Okay, yeah, for sure. You can definitely do that. So you go up and basically make your watch. Are you guys going to do any other preparations besides just watch, or you all day, which is an hour?
What Barney's like? What I'm saying, Barney wants to do is he wants to find a building.
Yep.
That is, let's say sturdy. Can be easily fortified, and also is either tall, maybe has 2 stories, or at least a tall roof. Because what he would like to do is have like Salvation on the roof or whatever, and then after he does whatever he does, he wants Salvation to come back inside.
Salvation is not in any physical shape to climb a roof.
Okay, maybe a flight of stairs.
He's gonna stand in the graveyard.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I'm sorry, but I mean come on.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
He's 5 foot tall and 5 foot wide. He's not going to climb one roof.
No, he's.
Okay,
I mean, you may get him up there, but you may never get down.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, this is like a classic.
Wants to find a building that he can secure and hide people in, and etc. and prepare to mount a resistance if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, and I mean that this is like kind of your classic Western like downtown area. So like you're looking at like a strip of buildings that's like maybe 10 buildings total in the whole downtown, and the rest of it, then the rest of it is all farms and stuff. So it probably in the dead center of town is your like hotel / saloon, which is probably a 2-story building, which I assume is where you guys probably would be staying. And then probably directly across from that is probably the sheriff's office, which would be the most like solid building that's probably made out of stone. So that's not going to be 2 stories. So you got like a wooden building probably that's made out of wood. That's a 2-story building made out of wood. On one side, you got a stone building that's 1 story, and then probably at the end of the street. Well, and actually probably on the end of the street where the graveyard is there's a church, and the church is going to be tall as well because it's a church. It's going to have a tall like spire or whatever on it. Maybe with a bell even, who knows?
All right.
And that's on the side of town where the graveyard would be, because that would make the most sense.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're basically in the graveyard, and as you could probably see the person in the graveyard if you were on the roof of the hotel, or but you're going to be a pretty good distance away from the graveyard at that point. And you're probably going to be like 500 yards away or something.
One last question about the jail cells. Is it like an old timey kind of jail cell where it's like one way in and one way out, or is there actually are there actually more exits?
Yeah, there's probably there's probably just the like there's a main door on the street that has like the office, and then right behind the desk and stuff there's like a couple of jails in the wall. I mean, there's probably windows, and maybe there's a side door to the alley, but there's not like a bunch of ways in and out. No. And you've been here, so you could have fortified it. If you only want one way out, you could have blocked one of them.
If the church has a bell tower, that might be a good place to set up if it has a bell tower.
Yeah, it's probably not the kind of tower you could like get into normally, but you could probably climb up there. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
I mean, they don't make them so you can like go to the top like the hunchback, but you
right.
It's not like made to be. I mean, there's probably a way up there, but it's not like a normal. In other words, once you climb up there, it's going to be slow getting back down. But if you want to get back down, it would be the only downside there. But yeah, you certainly can climb to the roof of the church, and from there, even though it's probably only 1 story, but like a tall 1 story, you could definitely see the graveyard, which is only maybe 100 yards away, and you'll be fairly high. So
Okay.
it kind of
The church should be great. That should be a place that has multiple exits, right? Also should have a place where we could easily put someone in safety.
you want to bring people into the church, which is what they did in the town where the old guy was from and they all died.
Yeah.
I think we should
Yeah,
leave
but I'm saying like if our
That
church
sounds
is
like the right
different,
thing to do.
it's just like our church may be designed differently. Like I don't want to put them somewhere where there's only one way in and one way out because that's a terrible idea. Boxing you in. But like I'd like to put people somewhere where they can get out, you know.
Yeah, I would say most churches would have more than one way in and out. You have the main entrance that like people would come in to like the back of the church would be, and you walk down to the front of it. That would be facing the middle of the town, and then in the other end of the church, where like the altar or whatever is there's probably going to be doors on the sides, at least one door on the side that goes in and out of where like the office or whatever would be. So yeah, I'm sure there's.
Yeah, so let's fortify those doors and everything. I mean, fortify the main door, hide the people at the back of the church or whatever, heavily fortified. But that way they can still get out multiple ways if they need to.
Sounds
Well,
good.
no, good Remington. I believe in the power of the Lord 100%. The idea of the church is good, but we do have a building that's made out of stone, and if you look at things good, stone's not going to burn as fast as that old wood.
That's true, but there's only one way in and one way out. If they come in that entrance, everyone's dead. There's less
Well,
places to go. You need to be able to spread out.
I think the Lord would have put his angel wings on the Dolores and stand her at the front of that building, and she probably wouldn't let nobody in there.
If I'm still standing, if they make it all the way to the jail cell, I'm dead. They'll have to cut through me to get to those children.
I mean, I'll be the last line of defense. I'll hold it out in the jail cell if that's what you two think is best.
So there's a total of 26 people that live in this town with you guys. About 4 or 5 of them are like fighting ability, like there's somebody that could fight. The rest are children or old people. So you can place this. There's not that many people, but I mean, you got like 20 people that you need to stash somewhere.
I mean, how many guns do we have and stuff?
Just what you guys have. You're basically the defenders. Everybody else has like sticks.
Okay.
I don't know. It's possible staying underground might be the safest thing for them, Barney. In the cellar.
Yeah, and I imagine that with that whole initial thing that just happened there probably happened in that's probably like the hotel. That seems like the place you'd probably be put up. So the hotel is 2 stories. It has like a little bit of a food storage in the basement, which is where you put the kids right now. You've got that, but that's like in the middle of town, and that's made out of wood. So kind of. I don't think the church would necessarily have a cellar. The church just has,
I guess we'll just go with the police station. It seems like the best solution. So let's get that up and running today. Have plenty of mats down and everything for everyone to sleep on.
Okay.
All right, so you're gonna move everybody into there now.
Gonna start getting everyone, especially those that are in their 20s or whatever, to basically just put mats and stuff in there, and we'll definitely move them all in before the rains start up again, and just explain we're gonna have to be in here, for a little while, to the kids,
Okay.
We'll have to be in here for a little while, Just just think of it as a big, sleepover. Everyone's together.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So you do that. By the time I guess I'm assuming, do you wake this old guy up, or you just leave him? You move everybody. He's just there by himself.
Barney would probably suggest just lay him in a bed that we have, or on a mattress or whatever.
Okay, but I mean, you can put him with us.
Put some bread next to him for when he wakes up, and water. fresh water that like he can actually drink, not like
Not alcohol water.
Yeah, not alcohol, acid water.
Nice.
I can just see it. He wakes up, sees the water first thing, and like reaches for it.
Well, that would not be very nice. So, okay, so you guys do that, and you make your preparations, and you sit out for the time that you can sit out safely. And maybe you took something. You guys probably have some kind of improvised shelters that you use before the rain gets too bad, so you can move around for a bit. Before it starts getting pretty heavy. It's pretty predictable. So you wait as long as you feel safe being out in the rain, and you don't see anything on the horizon at all.
Nothing.
Nope.
Oh,
Well, I guess we go and rest, and maybe one of us take a turn during the night and keep watch from the windows, just in case. The old man said that they don't travel at night either, but the devil works in mysterious ways also sometimes. But one of us keep watch through the night.
I'm on it, brother.
I'd be
You
happy
count
to
on me.
relieve you at some point, Barney.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a long period of time. So
Yeah.
I mean you're talking
Take
about
turns.
20 hours. So yeah, you're probably gonna have to take a couple shifts. Which is fine. I mean, you can do that. Whether you want to try to stay up the whole time or you take shifts, however you want to do it. If you do stay up the whole time, you're probably not going to be in the best shape tomorrow. But as it turns out, the rain comes slowly, and then more heavy, and then as always, like torrential rain so hard that if you're just looking out the windows, you can't even see like 2 feet in front of you, and that this rain is while it's like slamming against the ground and splashing up, coming down, you can see it like making rivulets in the road, and that like this is pretty common, and that in the morning it'll all be gone. So you kind of sit by and do your guard and wait, and slowly but surely it lets up. By the time it's kind of just down to like a regular rain, so in a couple of hours it's going to be day, if you will, again. The old man finally wakes up, and he sees you. Whoever's awake, I guess. I don't know. You can roll randomly to see who's awake. But I guess both just roll a d20, and whoever has the highest will be awake. Although actually, at this point, you're probably all awake because now it's far enough through the day. So he wakes up and he says, "Oh, I feel so much better. Thank you. I see they haven't come yet." He reaches for the water and he drinks it. He says, I don't know what good I could do, but I'll help in any way I can. I don't feel like I have long to live, and I want to make sure that your town survives where mine could not. So whatever you need from me. And he tries to stand up, and you can see he's a little bit wobbly, but he he kind of straightens himself as best as possible, and he kind of looks around, and he says, "I'm sure they will come soon."
I think how this guy's like having a hard time even like standing. Bernie would probably stop him from even trying to get up and just going like, and just tell him like, look, you've been through a tough time, there's no need for you to do anything here. You've given us warning, and to me, that settles it. Get your rest and, live to fight another day.
You're a good man. He kind of pats you on the arm, and he kind of collapses back down. He's not like passed out, but you tell that he's just like very much like out of it, almost like sick. You probably could even tell by looking at him that he's like a little sweating and stuff. Like he's probably getting feverish at this point.
Well, if he's feverish, do we want to have him here with the rest of our townspeople?
Let it be, Dolores.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Barney.
Let him be, Dolores.
It's 1829, 1828. You don't know much about it.
Right?
Yeah, well, you do know that like when people get shot or
yeah.
stabbed or any of the things you may have seen like trauma, and you know that he's been pretty well burnt, that getting feverish is not uncommon. You know, it's basically, I mean, it's a pretty good sign that he's either going to get past it or he's going to die. Like he doesn't have a cold, as far as you can tell. It's not that kind of thing. It's more like his body is just fighting back against whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's probably from the 1828 science. Like that's probably much.
Right.
Yeah, they don't really know much about it. That kind of stuff. Don't worry, I wouldn't have the common cold kill you. That would be so mean.
Now you know I don't put anything past you. Okay.
That would be so epic though. And now I'm going to put that on my. Okay, we're going to have to make a thing
Really must.
like War of the Worlds. Mhm.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I wish I knew
Is
how
there any
much
other-
time we had.
Yeah, well, you had a whole bunch of time. I mean, whatever you've had time. I mean, you're in the stage now where if you can imagine, probably like an hour or so before it becomes safe, you can go out with like, you know, as Barney did, you know, like with a heavy jacket and hat and stuff. I mean, you know, if the rain touches you, it's not like you immediately like die. I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's not. It won't eat through your clothes or anything. At least not when it's not downpouring.
You know, Dolores' music. She wishes she knew when they were coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could ride out as well. I mean, you don't have to sit and wait for them.
That's an
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, he's not sure. I mean, to be honest, he doesn't know. As far as he says, you know, he
Your
says,
salvation still recommends the same plan that one of you get on the roof, and if you see him coming, let him know. He'll be standing up there at the edge waiting.
Do we have horses that could survive this if we put a blanket or something on them? Or are there no horses?
I mean, you can ride a horse when, well, I'll say you can have horses. I'm not sure. You're probably not going to, I mean, you can ride, they have thicker skin than people do. So you could probably ride a horse, yeah. I mean, you know, not when it's pouring rain, but when it's a little bit like it is now, and certainly when it's sunny, you could ride a horse. And yeah, like you said, you could throw like a blanket over them, you know, to cover them as much as possible. So yeah, you can have horses. Why not?
Salvation, Barney, this waiting is driving me nuts. Do you think I should? I'm a pretty good horsewoman. It's what I do or did before all this. Do you think I should see what I can see? I'm a fast rider. I cannot get a voice
Well,
for her.
miss, the only problem I see is if you go out there and they see you and begin to chasing you back this way, and I have to do what I have to do, you may have your angel wings before you want them.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But that's up to you. Yeah, we'll make sure that you get a nice grave site here, and everyone will know your story. I can promise that.
I just don't know. I want to be able to help defend. We'll give it another day.
Okay.
So I'll
Yeah,
take
so
up
you
my
do-
post back up in the church.
Okay, yeah. So you get up onto the roof of the church, and Salvation gets out into the graveyard, kind of, you know, away a bit, so you can do your magics if need be. And where's Barney going to be today? Because they're organized now. They're basically already set up in the jail. Like that's all set.
Okay, and so that's all secure and stuff as well. Then what Barney would do is he'd like to try to help find people the best weapons that he could possibly help find them. Fire pokers, things with distance that are, maybe sharper, or, if they, I don't know if they could be, I guess they couldn't be farmers, but, stuff like that, like where, give like a baker a weapon that he could easily, kind of use because he's used to chopping or whatever, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. So we have like an 80s montage, you know, you're like making weapons. You're in the, what you got the grinder. I don't know why there's a grinder in 1828. You're making weapons and stuff like the A-Team. But yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, they were farmers. I mean, that's what they were out here doing. So yeah, they have they have pitchforks and stuff. You definitely can make sharpen some hoes or whatever. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So you arm the populace as best as possible. And you guys, after a bit, you start to feel that light rain's coming in again. And you look out as far as you can see, and you still don't see anything.
Mm. It was starting to rain again.
Yeah, it's starting to drizzle. You think you got maybe a couple hours before it's like heavy rain.
Um, couple of hours before it's heavy rain, and they don't ride in rain.
That's what you said.
That's what he said. Ugh, no, not yet. I'm gonna just go back to the jail for now.
Okay, yeah, I mean, definitely do that. So you guys go back, everybody goes back, I'm assuming, and you set up again, as shifts or whatever, and you got the all the people there. It's pretty crowded, of course, in this jail with so many people, but you figure safety in numbers, so you all kind of pile in there and spend the night. You can see the old man's getting a little bit worse. It looks like he's like. He's like sleeping basically, but he's like a little delirious. He's like, "Ooh, no, don't burn us. He's like having like dreams or whatever. And yeah, I mean, time passes and the rain starts to let up again. And it's now just once again, you're in, the day 3 of the standoff or whatever you want to call it. As the rain starts to become less and less. What's
All
the
right,
plan?
Salvation. I'm gonna ride out. You get ready. And just say a prayer for me, okay?
Well, you just do the best you can, and at first sight that you know it's them, you head back this way. Don't try to be the hero yet.
I will not, I assure you, I want to try to get back here to defend.
And remember, you got to get back. Don't ride too far.
No. So I will tack up a horse and kind of as much protection as I can from the light rain and go the direction that the man told us.
Okay, yeah, you definitely can do that. So, and the other two are going to take your normal positions, I guess.
Yeah, I'll make sure Remington, be up top somewhere where he can see better.
Right. So he's going to take the position. Okay, yeah. So Dolores, starts to ride out in the light drizzle, which you ride for about an hour or so, and it's basically stopped, and the sun is now coming out, and all these like puddles that are on the ground are already like completely drying up. And you can just smell the alcohol in the air. It's like crisp, and you're kind of out. It seems a little strange, because you probably have been such in confined quarters mostly for the last who knows how long, to be kind of out here by yourself again. But yeah, so after about riding for about an hour or so, and it really starts to open up, and you kind of you stop to maybe take a sip from your water and to listen, and you hear very, very softly in the distance what is surely the sound of a huge herd of cattle moving.
All right, I'm going to turn and spur as much as I can, use every trick in my book to book it back to town.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you turn around and you start, going back as fast as you can.
Yeah, gallop, hand gallop.
Yeah. So by the time you get back, it's just starting to. So you basically left when it was just starting to drizzle and rain, and now it's just starting to. You were gone for the whole sunny part, and you ride back into town quickly. You guys can see her coming, for a decent distance, riding quickly towards town. But when you look out past her, you don't see anything coming.
I'm gonna, I will dismount in a dramatic fashion, Legolas style, and then I'd be like, I heard them. I went about an hour out, and I heard the sound of many hooves. They could have been cattle hooves. I didn't want to take a chance, so here I am back.
Well,
Good
you
thing
two
you didn't,
prepare your
yeah.
positions of what you're gonna do, and I'll prepare myself.
Well, the rain is just starting again, and I think they probably, if the old man was telling the truth, I don't know if it gets worse now. We might have another day.
Well, I'm gonna stand here until I can't no longer.
Okay. Fair enough. What about the rest of you?
If he's going to be there, I'll be up on the church roof until I absolutely cannot. I know the rain will kill me if I stay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you go ahead.
Yeah, Barney's gonna be in the jail cell. He's gonna like have the doors like at first like unbarred so that he can let Dolores and Salvation in. But but he wants to have it close by so that if he knows that they can't make it, he can go ahead and bar himself in. So if he could pop, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you could close the cells, but everybody doesn't fit in the cells. Most of the people are probably in the sheriff's office proper.
I just mean like the front door. Like I assume we have it like a plank in front of the door or something. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. I'm sure there's something to lock the door with. Yeah. Sorry, just to be clear. Okay, perfect. Yeah, you definitely can do that. So you go back. The rain starts to pick up. You think that after an hour or so, you don't see anything. But during that time period, when you're inside there, Remington, uh, the old man, he sees that he says, "You look tense, my boy. Are they coming? What's happening?"
Yeah, it looks like they're headed off this way. Remington will say, and he pulls out like from his jacket this this little like kind of golden box. It's a beautiful little box, and he turns the handle on it a few times. You hear like gears and stuff moving inside, and then there's like a clicking sound, and he pulls the lever down, and this like rolled cigarette just rolls out where he pulls down the lever at, and he takes it and offers a cigarette to the old man.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't think I have much time left. He takes a cigarette and he kind of like, leans forward.
And Barney takes out a box of matches and strikes one, lights it for him.
Yeah, all the rain that's coming down explodes. No, I'm just kidding. The whole town blows up. No, you're inside. You're fine. So yeah, you light the cigarette for him, and he breathes it in. I may need that priest of yours to give me some last rites. I was hoping to be here when you defeated them, though. Here, help me up, son. And he kind of tries to get up, but he's kind of struggling.
Yeah, if that's what he wants, Barney will help him up a little bit.
Okay, roll a d20.
Great. 14.
Okay. Yeah, he definitely you sense like that he's like you can actually feel the heat coming off. Like his fever is really bad. Like you think he might be dying actually as you help him up.
Okay, yeah. So I'll continue to help him off his feet.
Okay. Yeah, he'll. I mean, you can get him up. The rain is a little bit bad at this point, though. So if you want to take him out, you're gonna have to maybe cover him or something because, yeah, he'll definitely fry up.
If it's getting bad, can we come back to the jail?
Yeah, that's what I said. So as this is happening, so now it's starting to get worse for you guys. So maybe you're thinking, okay, we probably get back in. I mean, you could stay in the church, but you on the roof of the church is probably not a very safe.
No, I'll go back to everybody else's.
Yep, I will too, of course.
All right.
Okay.
So you guys are headed outside.
Yeah, they're heading back to the church, I guess.
No,
To
we're
the,
coming back to you.
Pulling back to
for
you.
the jail cell. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry if that was confusing.
We've
Yeah.
been outside. We're coming back.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're headed back?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as you're on your way back, Barney pulls a knife from his boot. He slams the old man against the wall and then stabs a knife into the old man. I guess I can roll to do that.
Yeah, you can roll to do. I mean, he's not going to be able to defend very well, but go ahead and just make an attack.
Okay. And I get a +2 to that, right? That's only a total of 12, even if I get the +2. So it's a fail.
Yeah. Yeah. So he actually he stumbles back and he's like, "What? No! What's going on? What are you doing?" And he's going to try to actually swing at you with his bare fists, but he rolls a 7. I think he's completely unable to do anything. He's like, "Oh!" You guys probably hear a bit of like yelling from inside the jail cell from down the street. Let's just roll initiative so we can place everybody. I'm going to have, because you're in a different spot, Crystal, you'll roll your own initiative. So I'll roll the guy, and then you guys can have one outside, and then Crystal's character. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So I
You want
guess
to roll it, Tony?
yeah, it's a D6. So go ahead and the old guy's on 2.
Do you want to roll it, Tony? Or you want me to roll it?
Oh, me? I thought Crystal was doing it since she started it. Or is it me?
Well, no, she's gonna have her own because her character's in the
Oh, I'm
separate
sorry. I
space.
misunderstood. Okay. I wrote a 1.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
That's a D6, right?
Yeah,
I rolled a
D6.
6.
okay, so you go first. It's you, then the old man, then the party in the street.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna try and take the old man by the neck and just string him to death.
Okay.
17 hit.
Yeah, that definitely hits you. Let me see if he can defend that. He cannot with a 4. So go ahead and do your.
And that'd
damage.
still be 4d10, even though I'm just strangling him.
Yep, damage is the same.
28.
Oh, okay, 28. Yeah, you snap his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to go stab the guy, but the old man saw it and kind of fell against the wall. And then Barney just grabs his neck with the other hand and just squeezes until you hear his neck pop.
Yeah. So the old guy's dead. So you guys hear some people in the jail screaming, and it is actually, the old guy's dead. So it's now your turn in the street, I guess.
I'm gonna run to the jail cell. If I hear screaming, run to see what's going on. I know Salvation can't run, but I'm gonna run.
Yeah, I mean he's making his way there as fast as he can with his cane.
He can run. He's actually. I am running.
Come on, preacher!
He's like going slower than you are when you're walking. He's like, no, I'm running.
Come on, preacher! We've got to figure out what's going on here.
So we walk in and see Remington standing over this old man dead, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You just killed him.
What happened?
Well, son, you better have a good explanation. You better have it fast, unless if you don't, have to do what the Lord tells me to do.
Barney reaches down on the ground where that lit cigarette fell, and he grabs that lit cigarette, brings it up to his mouth, and takes a puff on it, and he just has a little smile on his face.
I am casting a spell on Remington. As soon as I see
Oh.
that, I think the devil's taking him over.
I will point my gun at him and go, "Give me
Holy
a
crap,
cigarette.
okay.
I haven't had a cigar in ages."
It's like you would hold these the whole time. Okay. We'll just roll initiative. It's a new combat, so we'll roll a new initiative. So Crystal, you roll, and then the party, I guess. Or
We're out of
Tony, you roll.
5.
All right, go Crystal.
I rolled a 5 as well.
Okay, so I got to roll a d6 to see if any wandering monsters show up. I rolled a 1. Hell yeah!
Oh man!
You
We
hear
might
a
as-
rumble in the street.
We might as well end this on an all out.
Go on a bang. Go out with a bang.
Yeah, you hear a rumble in the street. But go ahead and roll initiative again because it's never simultaneous in this. It's always.
Out of 5 again.
So roll again for Crystal.
Oh, sorry. 5.
Oh my
No way.
gosh.
All right, no additional honor and monsters. Too bad. Okay, go again.
Oh my gosh, I had another 5. I'm not joking. 3
Oh
fives
my
in a
God,
row.
that's too funny.
That's awesome, Tony.
What'd you have, Crystal?
I'm sorry. 3. I was reading something. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you go first, Tony. So catch your spell.
Yeah, Salvation takes the cane and he holds it up and he goes, Lord, this sinner will not sin again. I cast blind upon Remington.
Oh man. Okay, so like we talked about before, because this is a spell that only affects one person, he'll be able to get a DR against it.
All right.
So you can roll your D20 modified.
Oh
and
my
get a 15.
God, I rolled a 1. I'm blind too.
Oh no.
And I
Okay,
have to
oh my
roll.
gosh.
And
You
I
have to roll
what
that.
now?
So you roll a D20, add your modifier, and then if you get a 15 or better, you are not blind.
I'm not blind.
Oh no.
Oh well.
Oh no. Oh, hold on. I just rolled. They have a random monster table in here. I'm rolling right now. Let's look at. Holy crap. Okay. You all suddenly hear. This is crazy. Actually, I'll roll initiative for the creature to see when they come in. Well, actually, no. Before I do that, you go ahead and it's your turn, Crystal Remington. Sorry. The preacher tried to blind you and blinded himself.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
what
Did you
else-
want to do something? I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm screwing this whole thing up. because I was
Dolores?
doing 2 things at once. Dolores gets to go because she's on that side.
Oh,
If you want to act Dolores, you can go.
yeah, I hear this stuff outside. Remington's acting really weird. That's the situation, right?
Yep. Yeah, you came back and Remington seems to have killed the old guy without a good explanation as far as the preacher was concerned, who then tried to curse him with the Lord's power, but
And
instead
cursed
cursed
himself.
himself.
Okay.
That's essentially what it looks like from your point of view.
All right. I am going to try to hobble Remington with a gunshot to the leg.
Okay. Yeah, shoot him.
Yeah, why not? I miss. That's a 9.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you know maybe this place is full of people. So actually, roll a d6, and if you roll a 1, you hit a random person inside the place because this place is packed.
Okay, and everybody has tinnitus now because a gunshot going off in this tiny building. Dropped on the floor. Let me get another one. Rolled a 6.
Okay. No. See, I don't hit anybody. I mean, luckily you were aiming for the leg, so you aimed low, and it just kind of shoots into the ground, doesn't ricochet or anything.
I'll just yell,
Okay.
that was a warning shot.
Okay, so now it's actually Remington's turn, and you're being now shot at.
Remington says, a warning shot, huh? Huh. Let me give you one of those. He then takes his shotgun, aims it towards the cell full of innocent people, and pulls the trigger.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. I mean,
I
you're shooting a
had-
shotgun into a crowd, you're gonna hit people. So just do this. Roll. Well, actually, there's 26 people in there. Roll d20 to see how many of them you hit.
Okay, I rolled do you want me to just count the D20 I rolled to see if I
Yeah.
did hit?
Yeah, that's right.
11.
Okay. Yeah. So you managed to blast the shotgun and scatter and hit a bunch of people in there. Roll damage. 4d10.
33.
Oh yeah, that's enough to kill any civilian. So you basically just killed 11 people with the blast of a shotgun. You guys hear the shotgun go off, and Remington seems to have gone mad. And then you think you're getting tinnitus because your ears are ringing, and then it keeps getting louder and louder and louder. And one of the people yells, "What's that in the street?" And there's a pale woman standing in the street, and she's singing operatically, and she is a banshee. Let's see. So I'm just going to do it this way. Everybody rolls a d6 to see if you're deafened by it.
4.
Okay, you are not deafened.
3.
Nope.
Five.
Okay, so nobody's deafened. Now see if you're blinded, although you're already blind. Roll a d6 again. Now 1 gets you blind.
6.
6.
Nope. No. Okay. And then finally, I guess I roll this to see if she reaches maximum volume. She does not. Okay, so she's screaming, but she's not at maximum volume. So it just is. It's a. Oh, I guess I should roll for people in the place. Let's see. I'll just do it this way. How many people inside are deaf? 8. Oh, wow. Okay. And how many are blinded? Okay. So almost the remainder of the people inside the building have just been shot blind, and half of them are now deaf by this creature screaming in the middle of the street. And now we're circling back around to the top. So we're on the priest and the Indolores.
Okay.
Salvation is it losing his eyesight, and he hears the gunshots, knowing the pistol shot, and telling that a shotgun round goes off, and probably hears the townsfolk screaming, and then this voice starts singing, and he goes, Lord, I've always been your servant. I believe that you have blinded me to bring down the final justice to all of these sinners. Help me. I will bring the final justice to all of them, for they have lost their mind and turned their ways to the wicked. I'm casting freeze
Oh boy.
on the whole area.
On the whole area.
So I think everybody's
Yeah.
turn. I think the devil's taking everybody. So I mean,
Okay. So you're doing the full maximum range, which is what? Like
Oh
1 mile?
yeah, I'm doing the. I mean, let's go out with a bang.
Okay. Let me see.
So
So they would not have been. I'm going to give a small percentage. Actually, do you have percentile dice? Percentile dice? I'm
yeah,
going to give a 20% chance that the other bad guys are within your range too. Just luckily because of whatever, because they're on the way.
36.
Okay, so they're not there. Okay, so but everybody within the range, which is both PCs, all the townspeople. Okay,
And the
freeze.
Banshee?
And the Banshee, yep. Casting can reduce temperatures up to 100 degree below freezing point, up to 1 mile, 10d20 damage. All
yeah,
right.
I'm going to do it online because I'm not going to pull out 2d20. So here I go. 91.
Okay. Yeah. So unless you have 91 or more hit points, which I think somebody does actually. Yeah. All right. So, actually, you might as well. I guess you're in the area, so you're going to be affected by it as well. Because there is a 1 in 6 chance of you freezing, but I think that's only if you're casting it outside the area. I mean, if you're in the area,
which
then
it would kill me anyway because I've only got 25, and I
Yeah,
rolled
yeah,
a
yeah.
3 anyway. So
yeah.
I just die.
Okay.
I don't freeze.
Yeah. So you all freeze up. And what I don't know. Let's have Crystal say what happens.
So there's this massive freeze. Dolores is frozen. All the people are frozen. The rain is starting to come down now. It's just a drizzle hitting all of this ice. Salvation looking up, thinking, he's done good. He's done what the Lord needed. And slowly the ice around Barney begins to crack and just like heat up and it explodes. And Barney, smiling, takes the final drag from his cigarette and flicks it down on the ground. He walks over to Salvation and says, as he pulls out his pistol, pointing it to Salvation's head, he says, "I hope you guessed my name." And then he blows out Salvation's brains.
Excellent. That seems like a good place to end this.
Jeez.
And there we
That's
go.
great.